Welcome to today's explainer. You know, you picture worn, mud-stained studs sinking deep into the dimly lit stadium grass, and it tells a story, right? It's a story of incredible battles fought over so many years. But it also tells a much harsher story about time and how it eventually runs out for literally all of us. The 2026 World Cup is proving to be an absolutely unforgiving battleground. For the aging veterans of the sport, the legends we've all watched totally dominate for the last decade, this tournament, it's serving as a brutal, almost painful reality check. The stakes have just never been higher, and the margins, well, they've never been narrower.
Let's dive straight into this really heavy thought pulled from our source material today. The quote goes, "Salah stepped up, but World Cup 2026 is proving to be no countries for old men." It really raises a profound philosophical question for anyone who loves the game. What exactly happens when the sport's greatest living legends crash headfirst into the harsh, unyielding reality of their own ticking biological clocks? I mean, it's been a genuinely tough tournament for players with storied careers. Think about Cristiano Ronaldo's 90 minutes against Congo DR. It was completely a non-event. Or Heung-min Son, who just hasn't lived up to his previous heights with South Korea. The clock is loudly ticking toward the end for so many of these stars.
Okay, so moving into section 1, the exception, Salah defies time.
But wait, there is one absolutely glorious exception to this rule. 34-year-old Mohamed Salah stepped onto a pristine pitch in Vancouver against New Zealand and just completely defied time. Now that massive number 8 represents a staggering drought. See, before this match, Egypt had arrived at the World Cup having literally never won a game in the finals, 8 attempts without a single victory. They were second only to Honduras, who played 9 games without a win at the tournament. As a superstar, Salah has obviously always been under immense pressure to perform for his country. All Egypt wanted was a win, just any win. And honestly, Salah finally broke the curse.
He seriously rolled back the years and delivered an absolute masterclass. According to Opta, he was involved in 10 chances during the game, 5 shots and 5 chances created. Guys, that is more than any other player at this entire World Cup. When Egypt needed their big man to deliver, he absolutely did. He unleashed this classic left foot strike from just inside the penalty area for a goal, and then whipped in a corner that resulted in a headed goal by Trezeguet. A phenomenal goal and an assist in a 3-1 win, moving Egypt straight to the top of Group G. Just incredible stuff.
Which brings us to section 2, the rule. The golden generation hits the wall.
As incredible and inspiring as Salah's performance was, the rule, unfortunately, is the time eventually comes for everyone. Over in Los Angeles, against Iran, a really painful reality unfolded for Belgium. Think about these names for a second. Eden Hazard, Vincent Kompany, Axel Witsel, John Vertonghen. The expectation has always been suffocating for Belgium, right? And their repeated failures have weighed so heavily on their so-called golden generation. But that incredible squad that traveled to Brazil in 2014 and reached the semifinals in Russia in 2018, well, they're gone. They've been replaced by players who are honestly nowhere close to their level. It leaves just Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku, ably supported by goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois, standing as the aging stars with one desperate last shot at glory. But deep down, you have to wonder if they know their best chance is already disappearing in the rearview mirror.
The contrast here is just heartbreaking. We just explored Salah's match-winning dynamic magic. But for Belgium, we get the heavy-footed frustration of 33-year-old Romelu Lukaku. After not even getting on the pitch for the opening game against Egypt, Lukaku is handed a starting role in LA. Now remember, this is a man with 90 goals in 127 games before kickoff, Belgium's all-time leading scorer. But against Iran, he was cumbersome. He played for 73 minutes and registered 0 shots on or off target, 0 assists. He ended up with an incredibly brutal expected goal stat of just .03 before being subbed off. It's tough to watch.
So, let's look at the why in section 3, the physical toll of time.
We really have to look past the tactics for a minute and talk about the physical toll of time. It's the unforgiving reality of aging bodies trying to survive in a sport that demands absolute physical perfection. The stats for their 2025-2026 club appearances for Napoli under Rudi Garcia really tell the story. Kevin De Bruyne managed a mere 21 appearances across all competitions, mostly because of a really tough long-term hamstring absence. And Lukaku, just 7 appearances all season due to relentless fitness problems. He was actually still trying to work on his fitness during that 1-1 draw in the opening game. The injuries have taken a brutal, undeniable toll on both of these legends.
Our source material paints such a vivid, almost tragic picture. It says, quote, De Bruyne wore a pained expression, his red cheeks displaying the sheer effort required. Keep in mind, he was released by Manchester City 12 months ago because injuries had already diminished his ability to perform as the Premier League's outstanding midfielder. And against Iran, his lack of fitness was painfully evident. His runs just weren't penetrating, his passing was completely off, and then there was this highly uncharacteristic moment late in the second half where he just lost the ball in the defensive third to Saeed Ezzatolahi. He was noticeably relieved when the Iran defender failed to take advantage. When De Bruyne was finally substituted in the 87th minute, he looked entirely spent.
This takes us to our final part, Section 4, One Last Shot at Glory.
The paths of these legends are diverging so rapidly right now. Egypt will face Iran in their final group game in Seattle, knowing that they are finally within striking distance of the knockout stages. Salah really eased the pressure for them. But for Belgium, De Bruyne and Lukaku absolutely must avoid defeat against New Zealand and Vancouver later this week just to keep their fleeting World Cup hopes alive. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Do they have it in them anymore? Can they summon that old magic one last time, or is the sad reality that their bodies simply won't allow it? The fleeting nature of sporting greatness is incredibly cruel, and we will very soon find out if they can conquer it or if they will succumb to it. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. I really hope this helped map out the immense physical and emotional stakes of the 2026 World Cup.